Sadhu, sadhu, namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Meritorious devotees, today we are going to learn a very beautiful sutta from the Book of the Tens in the numerical discourses of the Supreme Buddha, Anguttara Nikaya. While the Blessed One was staying at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, the Supreme Buddha, our great teacher, taught this beautiful Dhamma. Bhikkhus, I will teach you an exposition of the Dhamma on creeping. Listen and attend closely, I will speak. So the main theme of the Dhamma that the Blessed One is going to teach is about the exposition of the Dhamma on creeping. It is something like moving slowly, hiding, or sneaking away secretly, something like that. So, Dhamma about creeping. Then those Bhantes were very happy to listen to the words of the Supreme Buddha. And Supreme Buddha started off the beautiful Dhammadesana. And what bhikkhus is that exposition of the Dhamma on creeping? Bhikkhus, beings are the owners of their karma, the heirs of their karma. They have karma as their origin, karma as their relative, karma as their resort. Whatever karma they do, good or bad, they are its heirs. So Supreme Buddha taught the Dhamma that one is the owner of one's actions, right? Karma means actions, bodily actions, verbal actions, and mental actions. Karma is their relative, karma is their resort. Whatever karma they do, good or bad, they are its heirs. That means they have to repay. If they do bad things, they have to repay. They have to experience suffering. So in this sutta, Supreme Buddha is going to teach us about bad karma and unhappy results, good karma and happy results. First, Supreme Buddha teaches us about bad karma and how people do bad deeds and then how they are going to experience the result of their own bad deeds. In the first case, Supreme Buddha teaches, here someone destroys life. He is murderous, bloody-handed, given to blows and violence, merciless to living beings. So that means he kills living beings. So this killing living beings is something called we can say he's breaking the first precept, the major precept. Normally, if someone follows precepts in the Dhamma, that behavior is called a straight behavior. Straight. Do you remember in the Karaniya Metta Sutta? Sakko ujucha sujucha. Uju means ruju, straight. That means in that sutta, Supreme Buddha explains about virtue, one's virtue. If one is virtuous, his life is straight in terms of the teachings of the Buddha. That means he doesn't do things secretly and he doesn't cover up things. He's always straight. He's virtuous. He's not harmful to others. He doesn't want to hide anything. He has a very honest life. That is the meaning of the straight life. But here, this person breaks the first precept. Therefore, he creeps along by body. He creeps along by body. He tries to hide his bad behavior. So he has to tell them lies and he has to act accordingly in order to hide his misbehavior. He creeps along by speech and he creeps along by mind. Because of this double life, like he does bad things and he tries to, he pretends to be good. He leads a double life. Therefore, it is called his bodily karma is crooked. His bodily karma is crooked, not straight. His verbal karma is crooked. His mental karma is crooked. Supreme Buddha teaches his destination is crooked. Destination means his rebirth, his next life is going to be crooked. His rebirth is crooked. But for one with a crooked destination and crooked rebirth, I say there is one of two destinations. Either the exclusively painful hells or a species of creeping animal. That's why this sutta is named as Sansappani Pariyaya Sutta. The exposition of the Dhamma on creeping animals. The animals, Supreme Buddha explains here. And what are the species of creeping animals? The snake, the scorpion, the centipede, the mongoose, the cat, the mouse, and the owl. Or any other animals that creep away when they see people. You see, some animals, they creep away. They try to hide as soon as they see people, right? And they curl up when they see people. Because they had that crooked life when they were in the human life, human world. Thus, a being is reborn from a being. One is reborn through one's deeds. When one has been reborn, contacts affect one. It is in this way, I say, that beings are the heirs of their own karma. So who created that life of that animal? That being's own action. Own action. And when that being takes rebirth, the appropriate contacts affect that being. That means that being has to live a life due to that being's action. Actions were crooked. Bodily actions were crooked. Verbal actions were crooked. And mental actions were crooked. According to that action, now that being has to suffer. So this is something that we should think deeply. Normally, due to our ignorance, we don't see or we don't understand suffering as suffering. We don't understand impermanence as impermanence. And we don't understand non-self as non-self. We see this world, this life, in a distorted manner, don't we? For example, we don't know about the true suffering in the animal world, normally. If one can investigate deeply, it is obvious that one can understand that suffering in the animal world. We can say to some extent. But due to this thick ignorance, when people see a little part of the animal world, people think animal world is a pleasurable world, happy destination. Don't they? Yes, sometimes people tend to think like that. They see beautiful birds, beautiful fish, and other creatures. Some people actually, due to their ignorance, they wish to be born as animals. But in the major part, the animal world is called a destination of evildoers. Didn't Supreme Buddha teach like that in this sutta? A destination of evildoers. Beings have been born there in order to suffer. Therefore, Supreme Buddha had to explain the suffering in hell in details, the suffering in the animal world in details, and the suffering in the ghost world in details, because people have this distorted perception, wrongful way of thinking in regard to reality. That's why Supreme Buddha had to teach some animals are born in dark, they age there, and they die there, underground. Some animals are born in water, they age there, and they die there. Some animals are born in filth, they age there, and they die there. No one thinks that this is a critical part of the animal world. So in the same way, about these creeping animals, it's a very serious thing. A human being has experienced this life. One time he was a human being. Now he is among creeping animals, snakes, scorpion, centipede, the cat, the mouse, and so on. Supreme Buddha teaches, thus a being is reborn from a being. One is reborn through one's deeds. When one has been reborn, contacts affect one It is in this way I say that beings are the heirs of their karma. They are the owners of their karma. Supreme Buddha teaches, here someone takes what is not given. He steals the wealth and property of others in the village or forest. So that is also considered a way of crooked behavior, because he is breaking the second precept. Stealing, right? Then Supreme Buddha teaches, he engages in sexual misconduct. He has sexual relations with women who are protected by their mother and father, brother, sister or relatives, who are protected by their Dhamma, their religion, who have a husband whose violation entails a penalty, or even with one already engaged. One engages in sexual misconduct. And normally they do these bad things secretly, and they want to hide these things to the society. In that way, they creep along by body, speech and mind. That's how they create their own future in this very life. Here someone speaks falsehood if he is summoned to a council, to an assembly, to his relative's presence, to his guild or to the court, and questioned as a witness thus. So, good man, tell what you know. Then not knowing, he says, I know. Or knowing, he says, I do not know. Not seeing, he says, I see. Or seeing, he says, I do not see. Thus he deliberately speaks falsehood for his own ends, or for another's ends, or for some trifling worldly end, to gain something, to gain a profit. He tells lies. Now, since people don't know how these evil deeds lead to rebirth in the animal world, and they don't know the teachings of the Buddha, maybe some people take this as an insignificant thing. Very lightly. They take telling lies very lightly. Or this is just a simple thing. You have to tell lies when you live in the society. But consequences are going to be very dangerous and painful. That action is also called crooked deed. Again, someone speaks divisively. So these are related to one's speech. The first three, killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct, are related to one's bodily actions. And now we are talking about verbal misdeed. He speaks divisively. Having heard something here, he repeats it elsewhere in order to divide those people from these. So in this Sutta, Supreme Buddha gives a detailed explanation of what each precept means, right? So it's very important to know this, the meanings of the precepts. Or having heard something elsewhere, he repeats it to these people in order to divide them from those. Thus he is one who divides those who are united, a creator of divisions, one who enjoys factions, rejoices in factions, delights in factions, a speaker of words that create factions. Or his words lead to disharmony and disunity among people. He breaks friendships. He has this intention of dividing united people, families, husbands, wives, Don't people use their speech to do these things? If you think about common problems in the society, these may be the root causes. Verbal misconduct. Again, that is also called a crooked behavior. Supreme Buddha teaches further, here someone speaks harshly. He utters such words as are rough, hard, hurtful to others, offensive to others, bordering on anger, unconducive to concentration. Harsh words. One speaks harsh words. Like these words give rise to quarrels and disputes among families, among groups of people, with inner hate and destroying one's mental peace. Again, this speech is also categorized under crooked speech. And there is one more related to speech. Supreme Buddha teaches, here someone indulges in idle chatter. He speaks at an improper time, speaks falsely, speaks what is unbeneficial, speaks contrary to the Dhamma and the discipline. At an improper time, he speaks such words as are worthless, unreasonable, rambling, and unbeneficial. So, think about this using of speech. One is not concerned of one's speech, so words are coming out of one's mouth without any control. So, and these words do not lead to the abandonment of unwholesome qualities in one's life. They just waste time. But normally people don't take these things seriously because they think these words are a part of one's life. This idle chatter. That is how this ordinary world is heading toward this very dangerous destiny. So these four types of verbal misconduct is also called as crooked speech. Leads to a crooked life. To be born in the animal world. Then Supreme Buddha explains about mental misconduct. There is a person, he is full of longing. He longs for the wealth and property of others thus, oh, may what belongs to another be mine. Yantang parassa paravittupakarnang tang mama assati. How does he desire for others' wealth? May what belongs to another be mine. So he has this strong greed. It is also a crooked deed. Mental misconduct. Again, Supreme Buddha teaches, here someone has a mind of ill will and intentions of hate thus. May these beings be slain, slaughtered, cut off, destroyed, or annihilated. He has these angry thoughts, hateful thoughts. Mental misconduct. Crooked way of thinking. Finally, the third mental misconduct. He holds wrong view and has an incorrect perspective thus. He holds wrong view, micchaditti. How does he hold the wrong view? He doesn't believe that they are a result of giving, practicing generosity. There is no result of following precepts. There is no result of paying homage to the noble ones, offering things to the Supreme Buddhas, Arahants, and virtuous people. And he holds this view, wrong view, that there is no fruit or result of good and bad actions. You can do whatever you like. There is no this world, no other world. That means this is just a biological result. You didn't come to this world from another world, and you are not going to go to another world after death. Nothing will exist after death. He holds that wrong view. There is no mother, no father. That's another part of that wrong view. All beings are equal. The implication is that you don't collect demerit when you ill-treat your parents. Especially, and when you don't collect something called merit. You don't make good karma when you treat your parents well, in a good way. All beings are equal. There are no beings spontaneously reborn. That means people can see only 3 types of generations through this visible eye. Egg-born generation, womb-born generation, and moisture-born generation. Those are the generations that are related to the birth of beings. But there is one more. Some beings are born apart from those 3 generations. They are called spontaneous generation. Who are those beings? Hell beings, ghostly beings, and heavenly beings. Since ordinary people don't see these worlds, this person holds this wrong view that those worlds do not exist. And he holds this wrong view. There are in the world no ascetics and Brahmins, no noble ones, such as Buddhas, Arahants, enlightened beings of right conduct and right practice, who, having realized this world and the other world for themselves, by direct knowledge make them known to others. There are no such enlightened beings in this world. So this is wrong view that he holds. So Supreme Buddha teaches, this is how he creeps along by body, speech, and mind. So what are these things that we were learning about? 10 unwholesome qualities. Dasa akusala dhamma. 10 unwholesome qualities. Do you remember we talked about 10 things? 3 types of bodily misconduct, 4 types of verbal misconduct, and 3 types of mental misconduct. Altogether, 10 unwholesome deeds. This is how we should learn the Dhamma, and then we should memorize them. Then we should apply this Dhamma to our own lives to investigate whether these unwholesome things are present in our lives. Otherwise, we will have this crooked rebirth. Since this person creeps along by body, speech, and mind, his bodily karma is crooked. His verbal karma is crooked. His mental karma is crooked. His destination is therefore crooked. That's how destination, rebirth, is formed while that person is living here and now. His rebirth is crooked. But for one with a crooked destination and rebirth, I say there is one of 2 destinations. No one can change this by mere wishing or prayers or anything. Won't work like that. Either the exclusively painful hells or a species of creeping animal. And what are the species of creeping animals? The snake, the scorpion, the centipede, the mongoose, the cat, the mouse, and the owl. Or any other animals. Not only those animals, any other animals that creep away when they see people. So people go to the zoo to see animals, right? Do they have this understanding? No, when they see snakes, oh, see that skin, see those marks on the skin and different colors. They don't know that they were previously human beings. Now they are suffering a lot. They are trapped in this bad destination. No one knows. People spend money to see and enjoy. That is ignorance. That's why it's very hard for people who don't know the teachings of the Buddha to escape from this samsara. Because if we don't understand suffering as suffering, who might try to escape from suffering? Because the animal world is called a bad destination. If you don't understand that the bad destination as it really is, we won't make an effort to escape from animal world. And then people's minds get established in that destination. And that formation of mind will lead them to rebirth in animal world. If we think about how children enjoy cartoons, right, with animals and those things, that's the danger. So we should learn the teachings of the Supreme Buddha to understand the true nature of this life and to understand suffering as suffering. So Supreme Buddha taught the Dhamma like that. Thus, being is reborn from a being. One is reborn through one's deeds. When one has been reborn, contacts affect one. So that means one is experiencing, any being is experiencing the result of that particular being's actions. So we can't say I am experiencing the results of your actions. There is no such thing in this world. It is in this way I say that beings are the heirs of their karma. They are the owners of their own karma, own actions. So when Supreme Buddha teaches about the danger of these bad destinations, when the disciples listen to this Dhamma, so these things reinforce the Dhamma practice of the disciples. Why? Because still we have our ordinary way of thinking most of the times. We are not very well accustomed to the mindfulness which was shown by the Supreme Buddha. So we delight in suffering. That's the nature of this ordinary mind. But again and again when we listen to this suffering in this world, the true nature of this world, doesn't that support the disciples to think about this Dhamma practice seriously? Right? So Because beings are the owners of their karma, the heirs of their karma. They have karma as their origin, karma as their relative, karma as their resort. Whatever karma they do, good or bad, they are its heirs. It's a very important thing. When we do things by body, speech and mind, we should not forget that we are going to experience the results. So in this world, very few people will realize this. That's how it happened in the past. That's how it is happening in the present, and that's how it's going to happen in future. That is why this sansaric journey is very complex. It's very unpredictable and very dangerous. Then Supreme Buddha teaches about the next part of this Dhamma exposition, the good actions and happy results. Here, having abandoned the destruction of life, someone abstains from the destruction of life. With the rod and weapon laid aside, compassionate and kindly, he dwells compassionate toward all living beings. So that is about the following the first precept, abstention from killing beings. Very difficult thing in this world. Here, abstention from killing humans and animals, from abstention from killing all beings. So, since he follows precepts here, he does not creep along by body, speech and mind. Why? Because his bodily karma is straight. Now he has this virtuous life. That's called a straight life. Uju. Kaya karma is Uju. His verbal karma is straight. His mental karma is straight. Therefore, his destination is straight. His rebirth is straight. For one with a straight destination and rebirth, I say there is one of two destinations. This is a new story this time. Again, for one with a straight destination and rebirth, there is one of two destinations. Either the exclusively pleasant heavens or eminent families in the human world, such as those of affluent kings, affluent Brahmins or affluent householders, families that are rich with great wealth and property, abundant gold and silver, abundant treasures and belongings, abundant wealth and grain. So this time, since he is virtuous, he doesn't creep along by body, speech and mind. He escapes from the dangerous hell and animal world, from creeping animals. Where does he take rebirth? He's reborn either in the exclusively pleasant heavens or in very rich families in the human world. Now where are we now in this time, in this life? We are in the human world. We are in the human world. And relatively, we have enough food, right? Clothing, housing, vehicles, and it's like wealth. But did we know that the reason why we have been born in this human world? We didn't know. How? Because in our previous lives, we have followed this precept, abstention from killing beings. We have done a difficult thing. But do humans know this? They don't know. So in this life, we have escaped from a great tragedy temporarily due to our good deeds in previous lives. Because this is about our human life. Supreme explains here. One is reborn through one's deeds. When one has been reborn, contacts affect one. It is in this way I say that beings are the heirs of their karma. Again, if one experiences happy results, it is due to that person's good actions. There is no point of getting jealous and trying to harm or trying to destroy others' happiness. That won't work, because this is how cause and effect system functions. This is a very good meditation. Actually, it's called the upekka meditation, equanimity, contemplation of equanimity. That means when someone thinks about the one is the owner of one's actions. I am the owner of my actions. If good things and bad things happen to my life, it is due to my own actions. If good things and bad things happen to others' lives, it is also due to their actions. See, that's very important to have an equanimous, balanced mind. Getting rid of defilements. Otherwise, when some people are suffering, some may get angry thinking about that some other people have given this suffering to that person. Sometimes such things happen. But if one is mindful at that time, no, that being, that person is suffering, it is not because of others' actions. He deserves that suffering. When one thinks that, so that person who does that contemplation is able to maintain a mind that is free from anger. Otherwise, the other person gets angry, thinking about how unfair this world is. But he doesn't know that anger and bad things, defilements arise in his own mind. He doesn't know that. He doesn't see that. But Supreme Buddha has stopped that. When you see someone is suffering, if you get angry, if defilements arise in your mind, you lose here. That's why this equanimous meditation is very important to understand about our own karma and others' karma. How we are experiencing our own results and how others are experiencing their own results. But most importantly, here we should understand this significantly. One can change this. That is the most important thing that Supreme Buddha realized. There is not a permanent result of karma that you are going to experience in a particular world. What is that significant discovery? One can change this. See, now say this painful thing happened to a human being in the first part of the sutta. But here again a human being has changed that destiny to escape from those bad destinations, right? So there is another important aspect of karma. Then Supreme Buddha teaches, having abandoned the taking of what is not given, someone abstains from taking what is not given. That is how he makes his bodily actions straight. And having abandoned sexual misconduct, he abstains from sexual misconduct. He does not have sexual relations with women who are protected by their father, mother and father, brother, sister or relatives who are protected by their religion, who have a husband whose violation entails a penalty, or even with one already engaged. So think about this superb explanation of the Supreme Buddha. Like, what does this imply? This explanation, like all women are included in this category, except one's own wife. All women are included, no matter which rule or thing that the countries introduce. This is how karma is going to function. Supreme Buddha saw that. So he abstains from sexual misconduct. Having abandoned false speech, he abstains from false speech. If he is summoned to a council, to an assembly, to his relatives' presence, or to court, and questioned as a witness, thus, so good man, tell what you know. Then not knowing, he says, I do not know. So now he speaks the truth. Knowing, he says, I know. Not seeing, he says, I do not see. Or seeing, he says, I see. Thus he does not deliberately speak falsehood for his own ends, or for another's ends, or for some trifling worldly end. He doesn't want to be rich by cheating others or telling lies. That's how he makes his behavior straight. Like, we can understand this, right? If people do bad things, we call them like they are cunning people, right? They are dishonest. A husband is dishonest because he breaks precept and he does bad things. But if people are like virtuous, don't we call them he's very straight, he's very honest? So same thing. See how this straight behavior leads to a straight rebirth, straight destination. Again, Supreme Buddha teaches, having abandoned divisive speech, he abstains from divisive speech. So these are the things that a wise person should cultivate. Having heard something here, he does not repeat it elsewhere in order to divide those people from these. Very difficult. Abstention from divisive speech is very difficult. It's very subtle. Or having heard something elsewhere, he does not repeat it to these people in order to divide them from those. Thus he is one who reunites those who are divided. Not only he abstains from divisive speech, but also he tries to build up friendships. If he sees some have broken friendships and they are suffering, so he helps them, and he points out each other's good qualities. He has these good things. Even though he has done these bad things to you, he has helped you. This is how he helped you, and these are the good things. If you compare his good things and bad things, he has lots of good things. Why don't you think about his good things? So we are human beings. Why are you keeping that anger? So like that, he corrects the other person and he promotes friendships. He reunites those who are divided. A promoter of unity, who enjoys concord. See how beautiful that mind state is. He enjoys concord, rejoices in concord, delights in concord, a speaker of words that promote concord and harmony. That's how he makes his behavior, his speech straight. Again, having abandoned harsh speech, he abstains from harsh speech. He speaks such words as are gentle, pleasing to the ear, and lovable as go to the heart, are courteous, desired by many, and agreeable to many. That's how he abstains from harsh speech. So that means, now this is a very important thing to understand. Like when we think about abstention from this verbal misconduct, one may think, oh, then you will have to be silent all the time. That's not the case. Abstention from divisive speech means, on the other hand, using words to build up friendships and unity. Abstention from false speech, lying, means using words that give solutions to problems, speaking the truth. Abstention from harsh speech means using lovable, pleasing words. Think about this. It is very important to use these words in a meritorious way. Otherwise, beings are going to lose their words in the next life, don't they? That's why some animals don't have, like all animals don't have words like we have as humans. It is because of a result, because of their own action. But they had words when they were in the human world. They used those words in a wrong way to harm others, and then that followed them back, and they lost their words. How painful it is. Think about, like, if we don't have words when we are born as a human being, if we don't have words, if we can't speak, how painful that is. So think about the lives of animals. Whole life, they don't have those words. That's why, like, think about our pets. When they are hungry, when they are sick, can they communicate with us? They are the owners of their own karma. They have to suffer. Having abandoned idle chatter, he abstains from idle chatter. He speaks at a proper time, speaks truth, speaks what is beneficial, speaks on the Dhamma and the discipline. At a proper time, he speaks such words as are worth recording, reasonable and beneficial. So, control of speech. Verbal good conduct. There's 4 types of verbal good conduct. So, what are the 3 types of bodily good conduct? Abstention from killing, abstention from stealing, and abstention from sexual misconduct. What are the 4 types of verbal good conduct? Abstention from lying, abstention from divisive speech, abstention from harsh speech, and abstention from idle chatter. So when we think about abstention, we shouldn't forget the other part of that explanation. There is a positive or good side of the speech, right? And like, think about the first precept, the abstention from killing. It is not just abstention from killing. Here Supreme Buddha explains, he is very kind and he dwells compassionate toward all living beings, spreading loving kindness to all. He is not just like a senseless, neutral person. He is cultivating these wholesome qualities. And when he abstains from divisive speech, he uses his words to build up friendships, reunite people. And he speaks very gentle, pleasing words, beneficial words. He's a very responsible, very good example for the world. In the same way, there are 3 types of mental good conduct which lead to a straight life. Supreme Buddha teaches here, he is without longing. He does not long for the wealth and property of others thus, or may what belongs to another be mine. He doesn't have that bad intention. So what is the danger of that strong greed and desire? Next, that person tries to destroy that other person in order to get those things. That is the danger of this excessive greed, the strong greed, longing. So he knows if others enjoy great wealth, it is due to their good karma. That's how he is wise. It's not jealous at others' wealth and happiness. He is of good will and his intentions are free of hate. Thus, may these beings live happily, free from enmity, affliction, and anxiety. May they be free from mental suffering. May they be free from physical suffering. May they live in peace. May they live happily. What is this? Yes, loving kindness, thoughts of loving kindness. He lives like this. This is how. So normally think about animals. Like normally we know how they fight each other and how they have these angry thoughts, and like even they don't recognize their parents, right? Do they? No, they can kill anyone. And Supreme Buddha explains, especially when Supreme Buddha was explaining the suffering in the animal world, something that we don't think deeply. Supreme Buddha teaches in the animal world there is this only suffering all the time. The stronger one always eats the weaker one. So the weaker one is always scared. Think about that when animals eat food. How do they eat? Do they have that peace and ease? No, all the time they're looking here and there because they have that fear. We don't see that, but Supreme Buddha saw that. This is a great fear in all animals' minds. So why? Because they have this angry condition. So if humans also live like that, if they get angry easily, if they try to take revenge on people, if they harbor hate, it is very obvious that crooked life will end up in a crooked place. So animals' life is created right here, right? In a human's mind. In the same way, heavenly life is created right here in human's mind. So that's why the divine abodes, the Brahma Vihara meditations, that means Brahma, the Brahma world, superior heavenly world, they have this mind of compassion, those Brahmas. Why? Because they went to that Brahma world. They were reborn in there because they practiced loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity when they were humans. That's why those meditations are called Brahma Vihara meditation, abidings of Brahma. So one has to work very hard to do these difficult things, to spread loving kindness, compassion to beings. Finally, the third type of mental good conduct, he holds right view and has a correct perspective. Thus, there is a result of giving and sharing. There is result of what is virtuous behavior, and there is result of offering things to the noble ones. There is fruit and result of good and bad actions. There is this world and the other world. There is mother and father. There are beings spontaneously reborn, and there are special, extraordinary, noble ones such as Buddhas and Arhants who penetrate the reality of this world and proclaim it to the world with their direct knowledge. So this is how he holds right view. Supreme Buddha explains, in this way he does not creep along by body, speech and mind, because there is nothing for him to hide. He has this honest life. Virtuous life means an honest life. Straight life. His bodily karma is straight, his verbal karma is straight, and his mental karma is straight. Therefore, his destination is straight, his rebirth is straight. For one with a straight destination and rebirth, I say there is one of two destinations. Either the exclusively pleasant heavens or eminent families, such as those of affluent kings, Brahmins, householders, families that are rich with great wealth and property, abundant gold and silver, abundant treasures and belongings, abundant wealth and grain. Thus, a being is reborn from a being. One is reborn through one's deeds. When one has been reborn, contacts affect one. It is in this way I say that beings are the heirs of their karma. So, Supreme Buddha concluded this beautiful exposition of Dhamma. This because is that exposition of the Dhamma on creeping. Sansappani Pariyaya Sutta from the Book of the Tens. So today we learnt about that, the danger of animal world and how those creeping animals have been heirs and owners to their own karma. And we shouldn't forget, we have been born countless time among those creeping animals. And Supreme Buddha has predicted after death, majority of humans are going to be born among creeping animals. So we have to understand the danger of these bad actions and maybe memorize this excellent teaching, maybe develop a fear of wrongdoing, and maybe understand the Four Noble Truths using this excellent teachings of the Supreme Buddha in order to escape from animal world forever and to escape from all bad worlds. May all of us realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.